So here we are. We're looking at adding rocks to our Koala game. And these are similar to the rocks we were pushing around in our maze game. But they're a little bit different in that it destroys things. Sometimes you can push a rock over the top of something and it actually destroys it. So there's a little bit more to it than what we've seen in the past. But just like everything, we have to start by creating the sprite. And we're just going to call it rock. There it is. We do want to smooth the edges on this one. It gets a little jaggy otherwise. Don't see a lot of difference, but precise collision checking, we'll just leave it the default. We do, when we create the rock object, we do want to make it solid though. So let's do that. Here's that. So make it solid, and then it's important to set the depth. We're going to say negative depth because we want the rock to be over everything else in the game. Sometimes we push it over the top of things. So we're going to set the depth to -5. So that'd be like 5 quote feet above the ground. Okay, so we're going to have to look at the koala to see which way the rock is supposed to move because the koala is supposed to be pushing it. So we're going to add a collision event in the rock with the koala object. So let's do that. Collision with koala. And we're going to do a series of check objects. So here, the first object we're going to check for is the wall. We don't want to be able to push the rock into a wall. So here's our wall object. And we want to make sure it's relative and not. So set those. And then to push the rock, we say 8 times other. In this case, it's the koala dot h speed, which is the horizontal speed of the koala. And then here too, we say 8 times other dot v speed, which is the vertical speed. So what we're saying here in English, okay, so when the rock collides with the koala, or in this case koala collides with the rock, and there is not a wall in the way, either vertically or horizontally, then you go on to the next thing. Now the next thing is another check object. And you don't want to be able to push rocks over rocks, so we can say our new rock object. We'll use the same 8 times other h speed, 8 times other dot v speed, again relative not. So we're saying, is there not a wall there? Is there not a rock there? We also have to do 2 more for the saws. So I'm just going to copy this one. And we'll do the horizontal and vertical saws. So if we don't want to destroy the saws. We just want them to bounce off the rock. So here's, I don't have the saw, so you're going to have to do that in yours. So that's something left for you to do. But you don't want the saws to be overwritten. But if all 4 of those things aren't there, basically a wall, a rock, or the saws, then you're going to let it move. So we go here, and we say jump to position, and we're going to move 8 pixels at a time. And we use our same equation, 8 times other dot h speed, 8 times other dot v speed. We'll say that's relative. Okay, so let's try that in our game. Here's our current window. So I'm going to put a rock in the game, maybe right here. And we're going to see if this koala will be able to push the rock. Here we go. There's the koala. Let's see if the rock moves. Yeah. You click it with the koala and he moves to the next position. And it doesn't continue on into the wall. What's nice about this code is that it will work in any direction. You don't have to do one for up and one for down and one for left and one for right. The way it's written right now, it should work this way. Now, there's certain things that the rock is going to be able to destroy. The things are the TNT object. The detonator can be destroyed by a rock. The 3 switches can also be destroyed by a rock. Let's add those collisions then. So the first one is a collision with the TNT object. I don't have that, so you'll have to do that one. Collision with the detonator I don't have. Collision with the 3 switches. Yeah, I can do that one. So here's the first switch. When the rock collides with the red switch, what we want to do is destroy the red switch. So we say destroy. This time it's other. And you'll have to do one of those for each of the other types of switches. Collision with the blue switch. And then a collision with the yellow switch. Same action in all of those. We destroy the instance of the switch. You'll need to add the ones in for the TNT object and the detonator. Also, we need to make sure that the saws don't go through the rocks. So you'll have to look in the book and take a look at what it says about making saw objects so they turn when they hit the rocks. The saw objects right now turn when they hit the wall, but we have to add that same behavior for the saw objects. Now, because we have these rocks that can destroy things, we have to give the player the ability to restart a level. I would imagine when you would release this game, you wouldn't want to include the cheats. So without the cheats, you need to give the player a way to, if they painted themselves into a corner, how to get it back to where they started. So we're going to create that capability right now. So I'm going to say create sprite. And this is the sprite for the restart. So we'll just call it sprite restart. And there's a sprite for that. There, that one there, restart. And we'll just go with the defaults. Okay, so let's create that object now. We'll just call it object restart. And we're going to add a mouse event. And we're going to do left pressed. And what we'll do is restart room. See where that is. I think that's here. Yeah, restart room. I'll just start the room over. You also might add the cheat for restarting as well. So we say keyboard, letters, and we'll use the letter R. And we'll do the same action. Now, we'd like the player to be able to pick up where they left off. Say they play the game a little bit and then they go somewhere else, and they don't want to have to play through all the levels. It'd be nice at the end of, or at the beginning of each level, we'll save the game for them, so if they want to load it later, we can do that. So we're going to go into our constructor, our controller. Doesn't look like I have one yet. So I'm going to add a controller. And we're going to add an other room start event. That's this one. We haven't done that one before. And we're just going to save the game. Here it is, save game. Doesn't even need a name, because you can just go with the default. Now, for this to work in a room, you actually have to include the controller in the room, or otherwise it doesn't control anything. It doesn't have a sprite, so we have to put it in there like that. And then we also have to remember to put in our restart button. And the way the game is laid out, the restart button is over here on the right, on the top. So let's see if this works now. Okay, so I'm going to move a little bit, move the rock, and then I click the restart button. Say I can't do anything and I need to restart the level. I click there and it takes you back to the beginning. Also, we put in a key press as well. If they hit the R key, it restarts the level as well. So again, give your players an opportunity to restart the level in case they get stuck. And that's it on the Koala game, at least for Chapter 7. Now we're going to be adding additional features to the Koala game. Those features are described in Chapter 8, I think. Let me look. So there's something called emerging springs. So we're going to be doing springs where we have flying koalas and springs that shoot you across the map or the room. We're not doing the training missions, so you can not worry about those. But the flying koalas are there. I do want to show you the resource for that if you want to get a start on it. If you go out to the classes folder, the S drive, Game Design 1, go into the Koala mods one, and there's some new things in here. First of all, we have a description of what the flying koala has to do. So I've written it down in English, and then what you need to do is make sure that your flying koala does all these things in the step event and the other events I discuss here. There's also one for the spring. I did the up spring in text. You'll have to do the other three directions to get all the springs to work. And there's some sounds here for the spring. Anything else? I think that's it. That's the only things you'll need from this folder. But we'll talk about springs and flying koalas next time.